Surprise, surprise, Eskom is implementing stage 2 load shedding from 9 o'clock tonight. Let's find out why. Spokesperson Dikatso Motai joins us on the line. Dikatso, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. So explain.
Explain why we have to implement load shedding at stage 2 this evening. Shahan, it's really to replenish our emergency reserves, which we've had to run flat out today. So we want to be able to replenish them overnight so that they are ready to meet tomorrow's demand in electricity. So our emergency reserves generally talk to what we should only be using as our peaking plants. So it's the diesel generators and our pump storage scheme, which are actually designed to just be run over the peak periods, early in the mornings and in the evenings when everybody's coming back from work and cooking and so on. And we're having to run those during the day as well to supplement capacity. As you know, our coal-fired power stations are not operating optimally. We are seeing a lot of trips and unplanned outages, and the system becomes quite unpredictable. So we're using those emergency reserves at times during the day to supplement capacity in order to meet the day's demand.
So what's taking so long to actually make sure that the coal power stations are finally maintained properly?
There are two issues. Firstly, historically, we hadn't maintained those power stations properly. Which is why they're not operating the way they should be operating. Like you have a car, if you don't take it for maintenance or for service over a long period of time, you're likely to see it not being very reliable and often breaking down. So we're seeing that in terms of our power stations, they often have breakdowns and so on. But going forward as well, we need room to do planned maintenance in order to ensure that in the long term our power station units operate sustainably. And that means that in order to create room to do that, the planned maintenance, we're likely to see load shedding over a few months. Tomorrow we're having the State of the System briefing where our Chief Executive and our Chief Operations Officer will give a forecast over what to expect in the coming months and how they plan to actually arrest in the long term those unplanned outages.
So, Dikatso, I understand what you're saying about maintenance when it comes to these power stations that hasn't been done over the past couple of years. But how are we going to get it right eventually? Does this have anything to do with a lack of skills and incompetence?
It doesn't. The skills are one of the things, to be frank, that we are managing or looking at in terms of our 9-point recovery plan. We do talk about ensuring that we have adequate skills to do the right kind of maintenance that needs to be done on these power station units. But really the bigger issue is that the system is so constrained that it becomes difficult to find enough room to do the required maintenance. So, for instance, over the past period, we've managed to do about 3,000 odd megawatts at a time of planned maintenance, whereas we had planned to do over 5,500 megawatts. And that's because we're trying to limit the load shedding, and that means that we have been unable to do the planned maintenance that we need to do. But going forward, as I say, tomorrow there will be an announcement in terms of plans going forward in order to ensure that we don't compromise on that planned maintenance.
So let's talk about the load shedding currently in place from tonight, 9 o'clock until tomorrow morning. What's the risk going into the weekend then?
The risk is there also for later tomorrow. So we are likely to have to again implement the overnight load shedding to create or to replenish those emergency reserves overnight that will be running during the day tomorrow. And the risk also remains over the weekend as we try to do the same, replenish those emergency reserves. Our units, we're also working on making sure that we get the units that were on planned maintenance back online so that we are able to have the required capacity as well to meet demand.
All right, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Dikatso Motai from Eskom.